Enough.
It's okay, sir. Both of you can use, sir.
Okay. So, can you give my introduction to all the viewers? Some of you. Or I should. Hello.
हाँ सर, इंट्रोडक्शन से आप चालू कर सकते थे.
हाँ हाँ.
Okay.
So, good evening to all of you. I hope I am audible to everyone. Myself, Alok Singh, Assistant Professor at Department of Renewable Energy Engineering at College of Agricultural Engineering and Technology, Navsari Agricultural University, Navsari. Today we are discussing the topic role of non-conventional energy sources for sustainable development of environment. Sustainable development of environment means the development of environment in a way that it is viable to everyone and it could exist for long time in economical way. I will start from the energy itself. Energy, as we studied in the class 6 only, that what is energy? Energy is the ability to do the work. This is the basic definition of the energy. So ability to do work, which will give us prosperity. If we will be able to work, we will be prosperous. Means ability to do work is leading towards the prosperity. And prosperity up to which extent? Prosperity up to the infinity. And that prosperity up to infinity is called, in other words, sustainability. And that sustainability of the environment we have to achieve through renewable energy. So this is our topic. Now, what is renewable energy? Renewable energy is the energy which is primarily obtained from the solar energy. All the energy sources are derived from the solar energy. As from the ancient Indian culture, we observe that we always pray to the deity sun. As we used to say, Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha, means the Lord Ganesha, which has the power of Koti Surya, करोड़ों सूर्य के जैसा उनके पास पावर है. So Vakratunde Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha. In other way, we can see that we celebrate the festivals like Makar Sankranti, Pongal, Bihu, etc., which are also offering prayers to the god sun. We also know that there is a temple of sun in Konark, Odisha. Yoga, we do yoga. Surya Namaskar. Surya Namaskar is also done to get something from the sun. So we can see that sun was always a source of energy from the ancient times in Indian culture. So we have to be sustainable by the sun. Now I would like to share my slides. Yes, role of non-conventional energy for sustainable environment. Here we would like to know the difference between the sources of energy. One is renewable energy and other is non-renewable energy. I hope everybody is able to see my slides. So now I'm on my second slide. So the difference in renewable energy and non-renewable energy. Renewable energy, which is derived from the sun. The example we can see here, these are solar energy, which is directly received from the sun, hydropower energy, geothermal energy, wind energy, and biomass energy. These all the energies are derived from the sun. Sun is actually the ultimate source of the energy. Other energy is non-conventional energy. Non-conventional energy means the energy that is derived from the petroleum sources like fossil fuel oil, coal, natural gas, and nuclear. These all are converted to the energy. In other words, we can say that even the non-renewable energy sources are also obtained from the sun. That's why we say that sun is the ultimate source of the energy. How these sources are obtained from the sun? The non-conventional energy sources like coal, gas, and oils, these are obtained from the earth, and how they were buried in the earth. Long years ago, we have studied in the earlier classes that long years ago, biomass were buried under the earth, and due to the interaction with the heat, light, these are converted in many years in these form of energy sources. So these non-conventional energy sources are also derived from the sun, because those biomass, which is now the renewable energy, that biomass is also obtained from the sun. Now we can say that non-conventional energy or non-renewable energy are limited in stock. We have limited availability of those energy sources, because now we cannot generate those sources of energy. But on the other hand, renewable energy sources are those sources which can be renewed at any time. Like, as long as we are on the earth, sun, as long as we are on the earth, we will have biomass and geothermal energy, and in the same way wind energy. Now wind energy, other main source of the renewable energy is wind energy. So what is wind? Wind is also obtained from the sun. This is obtained due to differential heating of the air on the earth's surface. Because of differential heating of the air on the earth's surface, wind blows, and it carries kinetic energy, which is further converted to the in the form of mechanical energy, and then in the form of electrical energy or any other source. As we know that energy can neither be created nor destroyed, it can only be transformed from one form to another form. So solar energy, hydropower. Hydropower is the power which is obtained from the water stored in the dam. If we store the water in the dam, it will have a form of energy that is called potential energy. That potential energy is further converted to the kinetic energy, and then in the form of generator, we can convert it to the electricity. Geothermal energy, that is obtained from the earth's surface, from the inner core, it is heated. So that heat we can obtain through the water circulation, and that heat can be used in many forms. The other form is biomass energy. This biomass energy is further the conversion of solar energy into the biomass. In daytime, through the photosynthesis process, this biomass is generated in presence of sun. Means this solar energy is converting to the biomass. Here we can see the things. What renewables are? Renewables are sunlight, wind, geothermal, biomass, waves, tides, etc., etc., etc. Renewable energy is growing in importance and popularity. We have discussed these things. Now we know what are different types of renewable energy: solar, wind, hydro, biofuels, and geothermal. Now we will come to solar energy. Solar energy is of two types. One is photovoltaics, solar photovoltaics, and other is solar thermal. Solar photovoltaic, actually there are two components of solar energy. One is light and other is heat. So if we use the light part of that solar energy, then we can convert this light part of solar energy into electricity by the means of solar photovoltaics. And if we use the heat part of that solar energy by the means of solar thermal devices, that is known as solar thermal energy. So solar photovoltaic has advantage that it does not contain any moving part in it. So if there is no moving part in the devices, then the energy efficiency is higher. And in case of solar thermal, there may involve some moving parts or mechanical conversion. So there may be some loss of energy in the form of friction involved in the mechanical or rotational parts of the devices. Solar photovoltaics means if we want to convert the solar energy by the means of solar photovoltaic techniques, then we need a solar panel. We must have seen the solar panels. This is now very easily, this can be now very easily seen in so many places. So solar panel, it contains solar cell. This is the basic unit of the solar panel or solar module. Solar cell is a diode which receives solar photons. Photons are energetic particles. These photons transfer their energy to the solar cells. This generates electrons inside the solar cells, and these electrons move inside the circuit, which generates electricity. So this electricity is direct current. This current is direct current, and further we can convert this direct current into the alternating current for household purpose, as our equipments in our homes are based on the AC current. This DC current. Now, if we further want to increase the efficiency, we can make the equipments which work on the DC current. Like in case of irrigation, we use DC motors to run the pumps. There, the conversion of DC to AC, the efficiency involved in that, we can save that. So if we want to achieve higher energy efficiencies by the solar photovoltaic means, we must use the current methods, current modes, which are operated on the DC mode. In case of solar thermal, in most of the devices, we work based on the greenhouse effect. Greenhouse effect is the effect in which solar energy is trapped in a closed container. This trapping can be done by the means of making a solar collector or solar cooker or solar dryer, solar water heater. In all these equipments which I mentioned, there is a box which is insulated from all the sides. On the top of this box, there is a glass cover. Glass cover has a property that it allows the solar heat or solar radiation to come inside the chamber. But the radiation which is coming, that is short wave radiation. After entering the chamber, it is absorbed inside the chamber, which is mostly of black color. This black color chamber, this is generally blackboard painted, which does not reflect the radiation. That is another aspect. We will not go in detail. This black colored system absorbs the solar radiation, and it again reflects or re-radiate. After re-radiation, this radiation becomes long wave radiation, and the long wave radiation cannot pass through the glass. This is the principle which works for absorption of solar radiation inside the solar thermal devices. It may be solar collector, solar cooker, solar dryer, or any other device. So solar thermal devices work on the principle of greenhouse effect. Now solar energy, second slide. In second slide, there is one more technique, that is CSP, concentrating solar devices. Concentrating solar devices are used where higher temperature is required. For lower temperature requirement, we use solar collectors, and solar collectors which are mostly flat plate collectors or box type collectors. And for higher energy requirement, if we say, then it means 300 degrees centigrade to 400 degrees centigrade. And for the lower temperature requirement, if we say, then it is about 100 to 150 degrees centigrade. So for the higher temperature requirement, we use concentrating solar devices which concentrate the solar energy by using some concentrating devices such as trough collector, concentrating collector, etc. So at the focal point, we receive very high temperature, which is of about 300 to 400 degrees centigrade. And for solar thermal electricity generation, we use this solar concentrating technique. The next one is wind energy. As I earlier told, that wind energy converts the moving energy, means dynamic energy, kinetic energy of the wind by the means of windmills. Wings of this windmill stop the air. Actually, they does not stop. If the wind is stopped, the next wind will not come. It actually slows the wind and it takes the energy from the wind, and this energy is further converted into the rotation of the wings of the wind. This rotation is mechanical form of energy, means kinetic energy is converted to the mechanical energy, and this mechanical rotation of the wings rotates the turbines inside the windmill, inside the rotor, and this turbine further rotates the generator, and generator produces the electricity. In this way, we use windmill for generation of electricity. There is a large potential of conversion of electricity. And one more thing is that the wind energy has the advantage that it can be generated both in the daytime as well as at the night time. Well, whereas there is one disadvantage of the solar energy or solar solar thermal energy, solar photovoltaic energy, that it can be only received only in the daytime, because it is available only in the daytime, while wind energy is available both in the day and in the night. This is the advantage of wind energy, that is renewable. This is part of renewable energy. Next one is hydropower. Hydropower, as I told, that we construct the dams, we store the water in the reservoirs. This stored water has the potential energy and it can run the turbines and we can produce the electricity. Detailed. Now the next one is biomass and biofuels. This biomass and biofuel has a vast potential for sustainable development of the environment, as biomass is available in many forms. But the problem is that the density of biomass is very less. So the only thing is to increase the density of biomass, then its transportation will become easy, and then we can convert it into the energy in many forms. Biomass can be converted into energy in many forms. As I discussed earlier, that biomass is we can say that biomass is also a conversion of solar energy. Solar energy is converted through the photosynthesis process into the mass. That mass is called biomass. Sometimes we plant many trees for the biomass plantation purpose. This biomass can be obtained. What are the different forms of biomass? This biomass can be from the agriculture sector, agricultural residue. From the forests, we can obtain forest residue, human excreta, animal dung, etc. These can be used as the biomass. There are many methods of conversion of biomass into the energy. These biomass conversion methods are, as we know very popularly, which is known, conversion of biomass into the biogas. Biogas is mainly obtained from the cow dung or animal dung. We can sometimes mix agricultural residue up to some extent to have the sufficient amount of available biogas. Nowadays, some biogas plants which are popular, which are mixed with the food waste. It is some research are going on to find the availability of biogas if we mix the animal dung, cow dung, with the kitchen waste. So the research are going on, and it is found that the availability of biogas in such biogas plants is higher in comparison to only that biogas, only that cow dung based biogas plants. So we hope that there will be good amount of biogas availability from such plants, and these are viable in the college, from the goshalas, college mess food waste available. So these things are going on these days. Next one is geothermal energy. As we know that there is large amount of heat under the earth surface. This heat can be extracted from the earth surface by recycling the water inside the earth, and this heated water can be passed through the heat exchangers, and then this heat can be used for the industrial process heating or other heating purpose. These are some pros and cons of the renewable energy. Here we can say that the renewable energy, any type of energy, we must know that any type of energy, if we want to save it, we want to conserve it, then on the other hand, we should know that if we are able to reduce our consumption, that is also a type of generation of the energy. If somehow we are able to conserve energy, it means we are generating energy, because the energy we are conserving can be utilized by some other place, and that is reducing the production of energy generation. So if we want to get the sustainable environment, then we must remember to save the energy, because energy saving is also a type of energy generation. What energy qualifies as renewable energy? So sometimes we say that nuclear energy is renewable energy. Some say that nuclear energy is not a part of renewable energy. But actually, the nuclear energy should not be part of renewable energy. Some say that the fuel used for the purpose of nuclear energy generation is uranium and thorium. These uranium, thorium are available in large amount of in nature, so these can be called as the renewable energy. It depends. We can say, but in my prospect, it should not be part of renewable energy. Now I have some data. Projected primary energy consumption of the world between 1990 to 2040. This is the data which is taken from the past, and we have some future estimations for the energy. As here we have United States, Brazil, Europe, Russia, Middle East, Africa, China, and India. As here we can see that in India in 1992, 195 million tons of oil equivalent energy, primary energy, was consumed, and in 2016 or 2020, 880 million tons of oil equivalent energy is being used. As it is known that the prosperity of a country can be equivalent to the consumption of energy in any country. More the energy consumed by any country, more the prosperity of that country. Prosperity is directly related with the consumption of energy. As we can see that in 1990, United States was consuming 1,966 million tons of oil equivalent, and now in 2020, it is consuming 2,334 million tons of oil equivalent energy. India is still far behind to that consumption of the energy, but we can see that the consumption of India is continuously growing, which shows that we are progressing in many ways. Progressing means we are developing our infrastructures, our basic facilities, and that certainly requires the energy. So more the energy consumption, more the progress of any country. In the last column, we can see the change in percentage per annum. How much change is happening in the consumption of energy. In India, per annum, we are growing with the rate of 5.2% between 1992 to 2016, while it is estimated that from 2016 to 2040 we will have a growth rate of 4.2% to achieve the energy requirement of energy consumption, primary energy consumption of 1921 million tons of oil equivalent. These are some data which show that India is very fast developing country compared to many other countries. Now this slide shows the projected primary energy consumption of India, including renewable energy from 2016 to 2040. Here, this slide shows the consumption of different types of energy, such as oil, gas, coal, nuclear, hydro, and renewables. In 1995, if we see the total, we were consuming 195 million ton of oil equivalent, and 2024, and what was the different composition? The major part of energy was obtained from the coal. Coal was the major part of the energy from which even today we are consuming, we are generating electricity from the coals. All the solar thermal, all the thermal based power plants are mainly operated based on the coal. Some plants are also being operated by the diesel, and some of the plants are based on the hydropower. So main source of the energy was coal. Different types of coals are being used in the thermal power plants, and India is not a good producer of coal. So for this purpose, we have to import the coal from the other countries. So a bulk of is used for the purchasing of the coal to generate the electricity. Here we can see that the share of different energy sources are as oil, gas, coal, nuclear share is very less, hydro, and renewables. In 1995, India was not having sufficient share of solar energy, but in 2020 we can see that there is large amount of solar energy, renewable energy, which is contributing to the total consumption of the Indian energy. Major one is the coal. So we can have an idea that which source of energy is contributing to the energy of the India. And in future, we can see that it is estimated that coal will again be the major contributor, and here we can see the contribution of renewable energy, which has increased too much. How much percentage? Here we can see that it increased by 35.1% renewables, while the other sources are approximately constant, while the share of renewable energy is going to be much higher. Renewable energy consumption in the BRIC countries percent-wise from 2015 to 2035. This is the primary energy consumption of renewables, including the biofuels. In India, in 2016, it was only 2%, while it is projected that in 2040, it will be 13%. In China, it is 3% in 2016, while in 2040, it will be about 18%. In United States, it was 5%, and in 40, it will be 17%. Russia, it was 0%, and because they have not the availability of the resource, because resource availability is the prime requirement for the renewable energy. In Brazil, it is 13% to 24%. So based on the availability of the resources, This is the projections of the energy consumption by the BRIC countries. The power supply status in the country from 2019, 2009-10, 2017-18. Here we can see the requirement and availability, means how much energy was required and how much energy was available in different years. This is the data for the India only. In 2009-10, the requirement of energy was this much gigawatt hour, 8,30,594 gigawatt hour, while we had the availability of 7,46,644 gigawatt hour, which was deficit by 83,950 gigawatts. In percentage, it comes as 10.11%. Now, we can see that from 2009-10 to 2018-19, we have the data available up to 31st October 2018. We can see that the difference in the energy requirement and the energy availability is keep on reducing. See, in 2019-10, it was 10.11% deficit, while in 2018-19, the deficit is only minus 0.1.6, means 0.6% we are lacking to fulfill our energy requirements. It means we are able to find new ways. And what are those new ways? Those new ways are probably the renewable energy, because other sources are constant. We have also obtained the new mines, new sources of conventional fuels, but right now we are mainly generating more and more energy from the renewable sources, and which is leading to the difference, which is leading to the lessen the difference between the requirement and availability of the energy. This is the data for electricity demand in different demand sectors. Here we can see that the data for 2012, 2022, 2030 and 2047. These are different sectors where the electricity is required. In industry, in residential sector, in commercial sector, agriculture sector and other sectors. In case of energy, in case of industry, in 2012 and in 2022, why this energy requirement is increased, why this electrical energy requirement is increased? This is increased because we are developing, and if we are developing means we are improving our infrastructure in terms of making bridges, making highways, making roads, making railway infrastructures, making hospitals, school, etc., etc. And more number of these basic infrastructures, construction of these basic infrastructure require more amount of cement, more amount of steel and other things. So the production of more and more steel, cement, etc. requires more energy, more electricity requirement. So the requirement of electrical energy in different industries is increasing, and day by day and year by year, in 2047, it is projected that the requirement of electricity will be 1,366 ton watt hour. In residential sector, again, there is seen the increase of requirement of electrical energy. In residential sectors, as we know that our income is increasing. Now we are earning more as our fathers or forefathers were earning. Now our earning is increased, so our living standard is increased. Our living standard is increased. We are consuming more energy, more electrical energy. So in 2020, it is projected that we will consume more energy as compared to that we were consuming in 2012. Next one is commercial energy. Again, there is a increase. So we can see that we are having that increasing trend of energy years by year. As in case of agriculture, in agriculture also we are having increasing trend, because now we are using groundwater for irrigation purpose. and groundwater extraction of groundwater from the earth, from below the earth, we need motors, and these motors nowadays are running based by the electricity. So electricity requirement is again increased. Likewise, we can see that the consumption of electrical energy is going to increase in different sectors. Now, the next one is target share of renewable energy in India's power consumption. In different financial years, we can see that solar energy and non-solar energy, how much solar energy and how much non-solar energy was contributing to the power consumption sector. Here, the blue one is for the solar one and the red one is for the non-solar one. So in 2016-17, as we can see that the percentage share of the solar was 2075%, while that of non-solar was 8.75%. In 17-18, the percentage of solar one increased compared to the non-solar one. In 18-19, we can see the scenario. In 19-20, again we can see the scenario. This is the scenario for the power consumption. And this one is the total of solar and non-solar. So energy consumption is increasing and role of and the composition of renewable energy is also increasing. All India installed capacity of power stations as on the 31st December 2018. In different regions of the India, how much power stations are being established in the India? As we know that power can be generated through different means: thermal power, nuclear power, hydropower, and renewable power. Renewable power can be by both the means solar thermal power and solar photovoltaic power. By the means of thermal, we say it is generated through the coal, lignite, gas, or diesel based power plants. Some share by the nuclear energy also being done, but nuclear is not preferred because of different hazards created by the nuclear energy. But yes, nuclear energy can be used and is being used for non-electricity generation purpose. There are so many places this nuclear energy is being used for the heating purpose, not for the electricity generation purpose. In this way, hydro. So here we can see the data of different regions: northern region, western region, southern region, eastern, northeastern, islands, and all India. So in all India, we can see that the share of renewable energy is 74,081 megawatt. Still, the share of coal is 1,91,092 megawatt. So it is still the highest. Means coal-based thermal power plants are producing highest amount of electricity these days. But the share of renewable energy is not also very less. In this way, we can see the electricity by lignite, by gas, by diesel, by hydro, and by renewable. We can see that after coal-based thermal power plant, the electricity generation by the renewable energy is at the second place. Here we can see the installed capacity of renewable energy in India by source. For different sources, what is the installed capacity of renewable energy in different years? So from here we can see in 2007-8, small hydro, wind, biomass conversion, waste to energy, solar, and total renewable capacity. These all are the sources of, these all are the part of renewable energy: solar energy, waste, biomass, cogeneration, wind, and small hydropower. So we can see that in 2007-8, total energy generation from the renewable part was 11,125 megawatt and increasing year by year, 11,000, 13, 15, 18, 24, 27. So now in 2018, it is 74,081 megawatt of total renewable energy production, renewable based electricity production by the renewable energy. So we can see that from 2007-8, starting from the 2007-8 up to 2018, how much we have installed the renewable energy technologies. This is the annual growth in power generation as per 30th November 2018. Now we can see that blue one is for the conventional generation and this orange one is for the renewable generation. How this renewable generation is keep on increasing year by year. In 2015, it increased by 6.47%. In 2016-17, the generation of power from the renewable increased by 23.97%. In 17-18, it increased by 24.88%, and in 2018-19, it increased by 29.58%. Means we can see while the conventional generation is about constant, the renewable energy generation is keep on increasing year by year. This is the target installed capacity and under implementation and which is tender. So here also we can see that for the different renewable energies, we are increasing day by day, year by year. These are some off-grid applications. So solar energy has not only grid applications, it also has off-grid applications. Means grid application means we are producing electricity from the solar energy devices, solar energy sources, solar energy thermal power plants, and we feed this electricity to the grid. But solar energy is not only limited to the grid only, it is also supplying energy for other off-grid applications. These off-grid applications are for the household purposes, solar lamps, household for the in the homes we use it mainly for the lighting and for the cooking. So there it is this much in 2013-14 and 17-18 it is this much. So it is increased. Solar lamps, there were not any solar lamp in 2013-14 and now these are this much large amount of solar lamps. Solar street lights in 2013-14, blue one, and the orange one is for the 17-18, recent one. Like this solar pump set. These are off-grid applications of solar energy. These are also increasing at the same time with the increase in the grid applications. This is showing the globally installed capacity of renewable energy. Earlier we were talking about the Indian scenario, and from this slide we can observe the global scenario of the renewable energy based on the data obtained in 2017. This shows the renewable power capacity including hydro, renewable power not including hydro, hydropower, biopower, geothermal power, solar, concentrating solar power, wind power, and ocean energy. So this is the data for 2017, orange one, and 2016 for the blue one. So here we can see the different generations in the 16 and 17. Though there is not too much difference because this difference is only for the 1 year, still we can see that we are progressing in terms of renewable energy production. So now we have discussed based on the different data, we observed that the installation of renewable energies keep on increasing in India. Not only one, but all the ways, but all the techniques of renewable energy are growing in India. Here we can see the current achievements in renewable energy in 2017-18. Now, India cares for the planet and it has taken the progressive steps for development of renewable energy through the last 4 years. A dedicated ministry along with financial and technical institutions have helped India in the promotion of renewable energy. The country is engaged in expanding the use of clean energy source and has already undertaken several large-scale sustainable energy projects to ensure a massive growth in green energy. There are so many energy initiatives being taken. India doubled its renewable power capacity in last 4 years. The cumulative renewable power capacity in 2013-14, it was 35,500 megawatt, and which is now 70,000 megawatt in 2017-18. India ranks 4th and 6th regarding the wind and solar sector in the world. The cumulative installed renewable energy capacity stands 5th position globally as of the 31st December 2018. India is at 5th position for overall renewable energy generation scenario, and it is 4th for the wind energy and 6th for the solar energy sector. The cumulative renewable energy capacity target of 2022 is 175 gigawatt, which we believe that we must avail this target. In 2017-18, the installed capacity was 70 gigawatt. There is tremendous growth in solar power. The cumulative installed solar capacity increased by more than 8 times in the last 4 years. 2.630 gigawatt was in 2013-14, which is now 22 gigawatt in 2017-18. As of the December 17-18, the installed capacity was amounted 25.21 gigawatt. India discovered the lowest tariff and transparent bidding method and resulted in a notable decrease in per unit cost of solar energy. Earlier, the cost of solar energy production was very higher, which is now significantly decreased. Means we have reduced the price of solar panels, solar thermal equipments and all. So now per unit cost of solar energy is decreased significantly. In 21 states, there are 41 solar parks being established with a cumulative capacity of more than 26,144 megawatt that have already been approved by the MNRE. The target of solar power, which is ground mounted for 2018-19, is 10 gigawatt, and for the rooftop solar power it is 1 gigawatt. Cumulative installed capacity of wind power is increased 1.6 times in the last 4 years. In 2013-14, it amounted 21 gigawatt, and in 2017-18, it is amounting 34 gigawatt. And as of 31st December 2018, it reached 35.138 gigawatt. So there is tremendous increase in the capacity of renewable energy, wind energy. 682 megawatt small hydropower projects were installed during last 4 years along with 600 water mills. So here we can see that there is tremendous installations of the hydropower plants. Now MNRE is setting up solar pumps, which is used for off-grid applications, where 90% of pumps have been set up as of today and between 2014-15 to 17-18. Solar street lights installation is being doubled. Here we can see the data, and from 2014-15 to 2017-18, more than 2.5 lakh of biogas plant are also being established. Biogas plants are very useful sources of the cooking biogas, which at the same time also provides the slurry, which is used as the manure. So any farmer can take the advantages of both gas and at the same time manure, which can produce the organic products, and these times organic products are much costlier, which can give them a good return. To facilitate R&D in renewable power technology, a national lab policy on testing, standardization and certification was announced by MNRE. These are the various steps which are being taken by the government, by the private sectors and all, to promote the renewable energy in country. and make the environment sustainable, means there will be a time when we will say that we can fulfill our 70 to 80% of energy demand by the renewable energy sources. The Surya Mitra program, this is also being done, where the students are being trained for this installation, commissioning and operation of the solar panels and all. These are things. The Bureau of Indian Standard, acting for the system components of the solar PV establishment. To recognize and encourage the innovative ideas in the renewable energy sector, the government is providing prizes and awards in many institutions. So now we can conclude these things. A comprehensive study of major renewable energy technologies for the domestic and industrial application give an overview of the development and scope of CO2 mitigation for clean and sustainable development. One more thing we had to discuss, that why we should use renewable energy. The renewable energy is reducing the generation of carbon dioxide. We should have discussed earlier that the fossil fuels, which are non-conventional energy sources, they produce large amount of carbon dioxide, which is very harmful for the environment. As we discussed, the greenhouse, what is the greenhouse effect? This, as in case of solar energy, greenhouse effect is beneficial, but for our environment, greenhouse effect is not good, because this greenhouse effect is mainly produced by the greenhouse gases, which are carbon dioxide, methane, chlorofluorocarbons, etc. If these gases will be increased in the atmosphere, they will trap the heat of the sun, which is coming from the sun and which is being reflected to the sky, but could not be reflected due to the absorption by these greenhouse gases. If these greenhouse gases will be increased in our environment, they will cause various damages. In this one lecture, it is not possible to cover all the things, so I am discussing only in short. These greenhouse gases are very harmful for our environment, which are stopping the sustainable development. So by the use of this renewable energy, we can reduce the emission of these greenhouse gases, and which will promote to the sustainable development of our environment. That's why the use of renewable energy must be promoted in all the sectors. We have already discussed these things, that biodiesel, biofuels, improved chulhas, wind energy, how these are helping for mitigating the greenhouse gas emissions. So this way we can finish our talk. If you have any queries, you can send the mails, or as our organizers say, we can do in that way.
Thank you so much. As we know, day by day, the demand of energy is increasingly. So in future, we have the option of renewable energy. And thank you so much, sir. The webinar is very informative for us, and it shows the projected figure of renewable energy and its contribution in the future, how the solar, biomass, geothermal can help for the sustainable environment. Thank you very much. For those who have any doubts, they can write email to tvs.vaghela@paruluniversity.in. Once again, sir, I'm very so much for sharing your valuable time and informative research.
Okay. Thanks to everybody for patient listening. Thank you all. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.